Welcome to Ridgecrest Talk. I'm your host, Tonia Pyle, and joining me today from the proposed Indian casino is the developer, Nigel White, and the Timbisha tribe chief, George Gholson. Thank you so much for joining me. And well, it was an exciting meeting last night at City Hall, and would you like to talk about, were you surprised at how things went?
I was extremely pleased with the result. I think the audience and the people of Ridgecrest broke through the City Council, and we certainly were confident that we would get a majority vote, and we were correct in our assumption.
Okay. And how about you? Were you surprised, or?
I was surprised.
I was surprised.
I was pleasantly surprised,
yes, sure.
I should say. Because when we went into this, I wanted to be completely open, so that way the public knew who I am. They understood where I was coming from and what I personally brought to the project, the integrity of the tribe and the willingness to work in conjunction with the city. And I think that the City Council finally got to see that on some level when I was speaking about how we were going to do things. We want to be good neighbors, and we want to include the city and the city businesses and the residents and be one big happy family if we could. So I was really surprised.
Has the Timbisha tribe been involved in any type of casino project before?
There was a casino project before in Hesperia, but it was completely different, and it was a different time. So the political situations have changed, and it's much tougher to get a casino now. So it's going to still take a lot of work, but the City Council had a tough decision to make. I believe they made the right one, and they're supporting their city. That's what they were elected to do, and I appreciate their enduring the process, because it was definitely an enduring process.
A lot of passionate feelings and experiences shared at the public comment period that you heard, and anything in particular stand out with you, or anything sort of shape your thinking or your ideas for your casino?
Well, I think having been through processes like this before in different jurisdictions, this one certainly was a little different.
In what way?
The passionate people, I call them the passionate people, and their beliefs were very vocal. Previously, I haven't experienced them being quite that vocal, but I think, you sitting in the audience, you notice I numerous times reached out to them and said, let's keep an open mind, and you're welcome to come to the facility when it's open, and I certainly respect your views. If you don't want to come, then, we respect that view. So it's an invitation. You may use it, you may not use it, we respect that. Certainly the process was a lot longer, and I think you've got to commend the City Council when they saw that at the first meeting there was sort of a lot of vocal support, and more vocal non-support, I should say, from people who are very passionate about their beliefs. They took the sort of hard road, over 4 or 5 weeks of debate and conversation and exploring and asking questions. I think it gave them a sounder basis to be able to make a decision. I think they were very positive at the beginning, and they heard a lot of sides of the story. I think some of the City Council members wavered. Possibly even, I think you could say that I saw a little bit of a tendency from maybe some of the City Council to try and please all their constituents all of the time. And we know in politics that that's absolutely impossible. You're always going to have a majority who you have to please versus pleasing the minority. And I think I saw that process work from sort of start to finish. And I think by the time the city council were, I guess you could say the word is educated or fully informed, I believe that they made the right decision for the city as a whole.
But I think, but I think part of the language with the motion to unfortunately, I was going to have that language here today, and it hasn't reached me yet, so I didn't get the motion here.
It basically says we'll approve the municipal services agreement in principle.
Yes.
There were 2 minor changes that were in the process of debate before the meeting, and I interpret it as the agreement is approved subject to the tribe and to the city council just tuning that language and kind of fixing it and making both parties comfortable with the end result. And at the end of the day, it's very important, I think, that people who have never seen a municipal services agreement, it's very simply a binding contract between a tribe and a city that says, you will do this, we will do that. It's legally enforceable, and it's a sound and solid basis on which a business arrangement takes place.
So it was agreed to in principle.
Yes.
But if they do some digging a little deeper, exploring some of the verbiage that they felt was questioned, they can, I guess, say it's not what we...
No, we certainly don't believe that. I mean,
I don't think that's going to happen
good
either.
understanding.
I think that in good faith on both parts is what we're talking about.
It's purely what I think, George, correct? It's the legalese, really.
Yeah, the language was there, but it was in pencil. So what they're going to have to do is go back and they're going to draft it with the correct language, because it was kind of like note taking. We agreed to X, Y, and Z, and then it's the notes. So it's the attorney's going to go back now, polish up that language, confer with our attorney, and then
as to meaning. And some of it had
exactly.
To do with
It's not going to be a substantive change. It's going to be a language change. It's not going to change or impact the actual agreement. Overall.
Okay.
Yeah.
I call it a tuning and a clarification.
Okay, right. Well, it definitely needed to be clarified. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back to talk more about the casino. Thank you. Welcome back to Ridgecrest Talk. We're talking about the casino that was voted last night at last night's City Council meeting, and George Gholson was just the chief of the Timbisha tribe, was just talking about some of the changes or that's what the controversy was about, some of the language that needed some clarification. In the contract.
Yes, and the tribe was it happened. The thing that happened occurred just prior to the meeting that morning.
Okay.
So we were unaware of the language that was in there, and I think the city council was unaware.
Oh, okay.
Also, so then the attorneys started talking.
That your attorney made to the contract?
It was actually the city's attorney that made the changes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they sent a red line version to us with with proposed changes, because the process usually is that they'll send us a red line with their changes. We'll take a look at the changes, and we'll either accept them or we'll modify them and send them back. That has been the process. Sure. Somewhere along the way, the ball was dropped and the line of communication failed, and the changes that were supposed to be sent to us a month ago didn't get to us until yesterday morning before the city council meeting. So that was the scramble, because it was a surprise on our part. And come to find out, it was a surprise on the city attorney's part too, because they were under the assumption that we had that information and that we didn't act on that information. So they got together, scrambled to get the language straightened out, and then that was taken to the city council. But the language wasn't it wasn't going to change the terms of the payments, the overall agreement. It was just some minor things that needed to be changed in it.
Okay. Well, let's talk about your feeling last night when it was voted. Were you surprised that it actually came to a vote last night? Because
to a degree, I was surprised, and being in those situations myself, being an elected official, I could feel their inner battle going on, because either way, and I have to make some of those decisions. Sometimes it's a win, lose, win. You're not going to please all the people all the time, and I try to focus on pleasing the majority of the people. Because that's what my job is to watch out for our people, and they were watching out for the city of Ridgecrest, because they made sure that we didn't have a lot of things that they thought we could have, a lot of leeway, like we could do anything on that land that we wanted to, and the agreement turned out really well for both of us. It's a good agreement for both of us.
how did you just get into the casino business?
Actually, the tribe had the very first meeting in 2003 about a casino, and that's when I got involved, was in 2003. I actually bought Timbisha.com at that time, and I still own Timbisha.com today. The tribe uses that domain, and I bought that domain specifically for the casino because I fought against the casino, if you can believe that.
Okay.
My family, we fought against the casino.
Okay.
There was a lawsuit, and we filed for amicus status. We were given amicus status, which means we were a party to the suit. We couldn't interject, but we got all the documents. And we fought against that casino because it was bad for the tribe, it was bad for the city, and we prevailed in the end.
What city was this?
It was Hesperia.
Okay.
See, and the developer at that time was taking advantage of a tribe that was ignorant to the process.
Okay.
So we were going to lose a lot of money. The city was going to make a lot of money that they didn't deserve. And so we fought against that. And the NIGC, the National Indian Gaming Commission, disapproved or denied their management agreement. It has to be approved through the NIGC. And when that happened, the lawsuit went away, they went away. Because we're not out for bad deals for either party, the city or the tribe. And that was a bad deal. And as an example, they wanted to build a building, the tribe was going to pay for the building, then they were going to lease the building back to the tribe. Now, I don't know anybody that pays for a house and then has to lease that house to themselves. So it was they were taking advantage of the unsophistication of the tribe at that time, but we have progressed far beyond that point. We're not so unsophisticated now. We have a little more business savvy, and when these developers came along, they understood that, and they've been working with us. So since 2003, I've been involved in the casino and the tribe.
Okay. So, well.
And on that subject, from the developer's perspective, I and we, have always wanted to do fair dealings with the tribe. Like Chairman Gholson said, a lot of tribes have been taken advantage of. They were unsophisticated, they didn't have legal counsel, they weren't aware of the process, so some developers, would sign them up to a deal that was a very unfavorable deal. And I was aware of what the developer and the tribe were trying to do in Hesperia, and basically sort of interjected or stepped into the deal.
Oh, okay.
And fast forward to today, the MSA is not where the city makes more money than you-know-who. It's a fair deal for the city. The developer makes money, the tribe makes money. There's a better sharing of the wealth, better sharing of the profits.
Good. Okay. Now, so talking about a better sharing of the profits, I always think about what we've heard some of the stories. One gentleman in particular who said he was $150,000 in debt. That's a very scary thing.
Anything that people do that's optional in recreation and stuff, there are risks that people with bad tendencies do bad things. You know, I can go out and buy a motorcycle and I can ride it through the desert and do something stupid and crash and break my leg or my neck. Just in the gambling world, there are those few people that do tend to overcommit themselves, or, you know, maybe do things in excess.
Okay, well, we're going to take a break. We'll be right back, and we'll continue this conversation and get to know a little bit more about Nigel White and George Gholson. We'll be right back. Thank you. Welcome back to Ridgecrest Talk with our casino, a new casino in Ridgecrest owners, George Gholson and Nigel White are the developer. And so I was just asking you about how this concept of casinos developed. And so you told me you know a little bit about that, so do tell. Because I don't know anything about how this, you know, I wish that it were more like a big Chuck E. Cheese, and really so that people wouldn't lose their mortgages on their homes and things like this. This is the big concern, and that a business plan would be drawn up so that, you know, you have a good business, thriving business, but that you're not making your business on somebody's great, you know, addiction or loss. So tell me about.
Well, I think, you know, that's a great analogy which I've really never heard of before.
Okay.
You can say that a casino is sort of an adult Chuck E. Cheese, but I mean, to go back into the history of gambling,
okay.
Gambling is in the DNA,
okay.
I think, of most people.
Oh.
I mean, I have books on gambling going back into the 1800s, and when the first slot machines were invented by Cy Red probably in the 1930s, and he's known as the sort of inventor of a slot machine, and it's gone through probably 6-7 versions or iterations, from the traditional one-arm bandit sitting on a little stand about this size to the current 22-foot high slot machines, which cost more money than a motor car. So it's been,
they were developed in the United States, casinos,
yes.
and are they is it mostly an American concept? Because,
well, the English have what's called fruit machines, but as I say, the traditional, what's known in the industry as a Class 2 machine, which is really a bingo-based machine, which is a player playing against another player, and then there's what's called a Class 3 machine, whereby the player's putting money into a machine, hopefully having some time on that device, hopefully having a good time, spending some of their hard-earned money and using it as entertainment, and not as trying to use the money to get additional money to pay their rent or their mortgage.
Right. That's where it gets to be, that's where you're in a problem.
Yes.
As soon as you think like that, it's, you're not going, that's not what it's about, right?
True. But the sort of casino industry evolved, you know, Vegas being the starting point, into the sort of Class 3 type game, whereby the house bankrolled the casino and the players playing against the house. And we know that Vegas wasn't built by people winning a lot of money and the houses losing a lot of money. I mean, statistically, casino games are designed such that the house has an edge, an automatic built-in edge, so it's an advantage out of the gate.
Right, because, and they have that overview, and then they have the control of the machines. So this is why I like the idea of everyone has to think in terms of discipline.
Yes.
In terms of
money management, it's called in the game.
Yes, and right.
Yeah.
Rather than
the professional gamblers are professional gamblers and generally make a living because they manage their bankroll or they manage their money. Whereas people like me that just want to go in and take $100 and just go in and have a good time and have a decent meal. You know, money management it's not my living. I go in because I do it for entertainment value. And hey, I might get lucky.
Right.
And as Chairman George says here, might walk away with $1,000.
Well,
unfortunately, that doesn't happen very regularly.
Right, right. Or they wouldn't be in business, obviously.
Correct.
And Monopoly might be a good name. What's going to be the name of the casino?
We'll probably put that out to the tribal members and
Okay.
let them choose that name.
Oh, it has.
Hopefully it'll be a
yet.
simple name that you can spell, but
Yes.
no guarantees on that.
Oh, okay.
Because our language wasn't a written language, so to convert it to a written language sometimes isn't the easiest thing to do.
Right.
There are some tribes with some unpronounceable casino names. Fortunately, not a lot of them.
Yeah, we want it to be memorable and easy to pronounce and easy to write down. But why we wanted to go with a casino? Well, it's not only that we wanted to go with a casino. We have very few choices.
Okay.
Trust land for other businesses you can't get financing for. Unlike a traditional business where you can mortgage your property as collateral to get a loan to develop your business or to build your business, tribes don't have that. Because it's federal land, so the bank can't foreclose on your building and come and put a lease sign up for a lease sign on it.
I see.
So there's no collateral for the tribes. Fortunately, casinos tend to be lucrative, tend not to fail, and banks are more willing to lend on those ventures than they are, say, on manufacturing or retail or other businesses. So that's the main reason why tribes go with casinos, because they're financeable, and you usually have a developer that knows this and is willing to help make that process happen. So I've been asked before, why a casino? That's the basic reason why. It produces cash. You can get financing for it, and they have a tendency to be successful.
I see. Okay. Well, it's going to be. It's going to be interesting. I think there's a lot of people are very hopeful for what it might bring. A lot of people are deeply, deeply concerned. And so we've got about 1 minute left. And what haven't I asked you would like to say, or about what you're feeling, or about how the vote went last night, or?
Well, I think from the developer's perspective, you know, the tribe and ourselves are very pleased with the outcome. We think as time goes on, and as I said, I've been through this process before. I've been in the casino business for close to 40 years, the hotel and casino business, and I think you'll find that things will hopefully settle down. The minister who did the invocation last night said something which touched me, which I thought was very profound.
Okay.
He said effectively, we're here and we may disagree. We all have opinions and stuff, but at the end he said something really nice, which is, we are the people of Ridgecrest. We need to come together and be together. And we may still disagree into the future, but City Council's made a decision, and let's all work together for the betterment of the people of Ridgecrest and for the tribe and for everybody.
Well, I hope it's for the best. I want to thank both of you for joining me today. We're out of time, and that's a very good closing thought. And thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.